on small businesses in empowering India's future and role of NEP 2020 and major government policies in promoting small businesses.
Just one small thing, sorry. So welcome everyone to this session of the presentations, and we have about 8 presenters today. So you will get about 6 minutes, and I'm slightly harsh about keeping to the timetable so that we have at least 10 minutes of discussion. So 48 to 50 minutes and then 10 minutes of discussion. Please start. The first presenter is Dr. Paulina Chakraborty. She is from Chhatra University.
So small businesses play a pivotal role in Indian economy. So first a brief note about the role of small businesses in Indian economy. Firstly, it helps in the industrialization of rural areas. Small businesses, if set up in the rural areas, help in industrialization. Moreover, where unemployment is a big problem, it provides employment opportunities and thus it provides impetus to growth. It also helps in export promotion and stimulates entrepreneurship. Moreover, inequality in distribution of income is a big problem. So small businesses also help solve the socio-economic problem and helps in equitable distribution of income. They also help in technology development and better use of indigenous organizational and management capabilities, and in turn supports the growth of large industries as well. However, the small businesses in India face certain challenges like availability of credit is a big problem for them. At times, credit is not available at the correct time, or maybe the collateral requirements are so high that small businesses fail to meet that, and high cost of credit may also be a problem. Moreover, raw materials are available at such high cost that small businesses may not be able to acquire them at the correct time. Problems of storage, designing and packaging is a problem for them as well. Lack of access to global markets for small businesses provides a hindrance in their path. Moreover, inadequate infrastructural facilities like availability of power, water and roads poses a problem. Low technology and lack of access to modern technology is also an obstacle on their path of development. Lack of skilled manpower, multiplicity of labor laws and complicated procedures associated with those laws, and lack of social security are some of the challenges which the small businesses in India have to face. Now, NEP 2020 and small businesses, what is the interconnection between them? Now, the Indian government, as we have seen in the first session, our esteemed resource persons have also highlighted this, that the 34-year national policy and education has been replaced in 2020 with the NEP 2020 to keep up with the trends and remove the existing loopholes in our education system. So, as approved by the Union Cabinet, NEP 2020 has the objective of integrating education with employment and bridge the gap between education and employment with an emphasis on entrepreneurship. So NEP 2020 promises to be a boom for the small businesses, since this importance given to entrepreneurship will encourage the young entrepreneurs to come forward and start small businesses. Now, taking into consideration the importance of small businesses in Indian economy, our government, both central government and state government, has undertaken a number of policies and schemes for their development, and mainly these schemes focus on credit availability, skill enhancement, technology upgradation, as well as to satisfy the marketing problems which the small businesses have to face, how they can overcome them. So some of the schemes which have been undertaken to help them in the credit availability problem are the Credit Guarantee Fund Scheme, Microfinance Program operated by SIDBI, industrial motivation campaigns being organized, entrepreneurship development programs, as well as market development assistance schemes which are provided to them so that they can come out with more participation in exhibitions and showcase their products, as well as Prime Minister's Employment Generation Program, Credit Guarantee Trust Fund for Micro and Small Industries, Scheme for Promoting Innovation, Rural Industry and Entrepreneurship, National Manufacturing Competitiveness Program are some of the schemes which government has taken for promoting the small businesses in India. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and also thank you for keeping to the time. Thank you so much. Yes. I would now like to invite Deepak Mondo from BC College.
Based SWAM books in higher education in India. In this presentation, I am going to talk about the introduction, about the objectives of the paper, literature review, methodology, and conclusion. We all know that new National Education Policy 2020 envisages to make higher education more holistic and multidisciplinary. Recently, there was a UC directive that at least all the higher education institutions in India should deliver 20% of the program through credit-based books available on SWAM platform. We all know what books stand for Massive Open Online Course, and SWAM is a platform where there are different types of books available here. We had already seen that during the lockdown period, we were forced to go online, we were forced to go to teach students online, but there were many barriers. So with this intention in mind, I thought, okay, what can be the barriers and of this book-based learning. So the objective of my study will be to identify the barriers to credit-based books and the second to rank the barriers in the credit-based books, SWAM books in higher education in India. For that, I had done a literature review. Exhaustive literature review was done. The database that was taken was Scopus, Web of Science, Emerald, Insight, ProQuest, and Google Scholar. The period that I covered during this literature review is from 2012 to 2023. Based on the literature review, I found out the following barriers, as you can see on the board. That is, these are the main barriers: technological barrier, pedagogical barrier, organizational barrier, socio-cultural barrier, and personal barrier. These are the main barriers, and I have provided an example. What does it mean? Technological barrier means unreliable internet, lack of technical support, inadequate technical infrastructure, poor ICT skills. Similarly, pedagogical barrier can be lack of interaction with instructor and learner, poor course design, and many others. I have provided the supporting literature there. You can find from there. So based on that, the methodology that was used was two-phase multi-case methodology. It was used. In the first phase, an extensive literature review was done, and a modified Delphi method was used to identify the barrier. This was the first phase, and in the second phase, I had used best worst methodology. It was developed by design to evaluate and rank the barrier. Based on this, I had consulted 7 experts from different educational background, and you can see these are the institutions from where I had consulted. These are the people who have knowledge about the books and online platforms. Based on their and for second, I had adopted the BWM based and worst method. You can see these are the 5 steps in based and worst method, and basically what is the motive of this is we have to identify which is the best criteria and worst criteria. Based on that, we have used the scale 1 to 9, and then further you can see there was a pairwise comparison between the criteria. Expert 1, say example for expert 1, this is based on other criteria based on the 7 respondents. Expert 1 has said that technological barrier is the best criteria. So you can see this is based on the methodology. The technological barrier was given point number 1, and rest it depends on which is the best to other. Comparison was done here. Then second comparison that was done here was other to worst. And again we have made this table. After this we had normalized the data, and based after the normalization I had to use the best worst method solver. This is the solver that has been provided by the author, and you can go there and download it there, and you simply put the data and get the conclusion. based on that solver, we get optimized rate, and optimized rate, based on the optimized rate, all the values was right accordingly. Conclusion that arrived, total we identified 5 barriers: technological, pedagogical, organizational, socio-cultural and personal. These are the main barriers, and it was found based on that personal barrier, the most important barrier that hinders the books is personal barrier, followed by technological barriers, and the findings suggest that we have to first of all solve the personal barrier, followed by technological barrier, then only our policy that we think of providing credit-based science books to the larger audience can be solved. Thank you.
Good afternoon everyone, myself Samali Ganguly, research scholar of Mumbai University and the faculty member of Degree College Asimson. Today I tell about the topic of environment with digitalization in India and Vivekananda's view. Okay. My content is digital technology. What is digital technology? The digital technology is that the basics of science. Okay, but nowadays our main purpose is that to communicate each and everyone to broader than digital technology, used by digital technology and services and resources. This is a big project of our India government, and it is provide that the digital literacy and that transform India digital empowered by our country. Okay. Next, the development of through digitalization. আমরা কেন এই digitalization করব at present এটাও আমাদের ভাবার দরকার আছে। কেন না আমরা যে কাজগুলো বিশেষত মহিলারা আগে ঘরে বসে কাজ করতে পারতাম, তাদের ছোট ছোট ক্রিয়েটিভিটিগুলো আমরা দেখাতে পারতাম না, কিন্তু at present আমরা এই জায়গাগুলো দেখাতে পারি। ঠিক আছে, মিডিয়াম অফ ডেইলি লাইফ ট্রানজাকশন, আওয়ার ডেইলি লাইফ ট্রানজাকশন অ্যান্ড ডেইলি লাইফ অফ অ্যাক্টিভিটিস, থ্রু আওয়ার ডিজিটাল কমিউনিকেশন স্টুডেন্ট আর এবল টু লার্ন ডিফারেন্ট প্লেসেস অ্যান্ড ডিফারেন্ট সোর্সেস অফ digital communication. Also, by using paperless work through digital technology, we can save the tree, our environment. That is very important to this generation. Next, women empowerment with through digitalization. We already told that empowerment of women in education, and women are very competitive and achieving success same as male population. Also, women have been able to this technology achieve their desired goals. যে কাজগুলো আমরা ঘরে বসে আগে করতে পারতাম না, ছোট ছোট আমাদের ইচ্ছেগুলোকেও আমরা ঘরে বসে পূর্ণ করতে পারছি এই টেকনোলজির সাহায্যের জন্যই। নেক্সট, আমরা কি বলতে চাইছি যে এর প্রবলেমটা কি? ডিজিটাল টেকনোলজি তো খুব ভালো কথা, কিন্তু হোয়াট ইজ দ্য প্রবলেম অফ ডিজিটাল টেকনোলজি? দ্য টেকনোলজি we are become more slaves in the technology. People are gradually losing their moral values and self-consciousness. We are moral crisis. We are the new generation passing through the moral crisis of this situation, and the addiction of social media. If we are properly use it, then we are not addicted this situation. Also, due to misuse, crimes also may happen, and they are gradually do the crime easily. So what is the solution? কেমন করে আমরা একটা সলিউশন করতে পারি? Like the great philosopher Swami Vivekananda give the solution. What is the solution? At present we are getting a real education. আমাদের প্রপার এডুকেশন দরকার। যে এডুকেশনটা আমাদেরকে কি করতে হবে না লাইফ মেকিং করবে, ম্যান মেকিং করবে এবং ক্যারেক্টার মেকিং করবে। বিকজ তার জন্য আমাদের কি দরকার না হেলথের জন্য হেলথ ডেভেলপমেন্ট দরকার। বিকজ আমাদের গুড মাইন্ড পেতে হলে আমাদের সবার প্রথমে কি দরকার না গুড হেলথ। ঠিক আছে, নেক্সট বলছে কি যে ফিজিক্যাল হেলথ বিকাম স্ট্রং বডি, অ্যান্ড দ্য স্ট্রং বডি মেক আ সাউন্ড অফ মাইন্ড। And ethics in Vivekananda says that it is nothing but it helps us to a big person and good citizenships. After the end, we get the result. আমরা এটা যদি ওনার যে প্রসেস সেই প্রসেস যদি আমরা ফলো করি তাহলে আমাদের কি হবে না inner and outer development we can use the digital platform properly. The student will new generation will be more versatile and we will give more respect to all women and encourage them entrepreneurship. Thank you and
Panel member, and I am here to present my paper titled The Impact of NEP 2020 on the Higher Education System in Indian University, a critical review with reference to skill development and vocational education. So, now let us first start with the introduction part. NEP 2020. Why the word NEP 2020 and what is the mission behind the NEP 2020 of Government of India? Visualization of the Atmanirbhar Bharat mission by Government of India to support the young to build a self-reliant and empowered India through a government campaign like Make in India, Digital India and Startup India to be implemented. And to emulate this vision, the skill-based model of education is very much required in spite of that traditional type of education. Now, about the NEP 2020. The ground of NEP 2020 began in January 2015 when a committee under leadership former Cabinet Secretary Sri TSR Subramaniam was set up. This committee submitted a report on June 2017 and based on this report, a draft NEP 2020 was submitted in 2019 by an panel member led by former ISRO Chief Dr. Krishnaswamy Kasturi Ranjan. Now, few literature reviews are 1968 National Education Policy, National Education Policy 1986 and few notifications from UGC are here for this paper. Now, what is the silent feature of new education policy? The main silent feature of this policy is in spite of education system of 10 plus 2 system, it will be 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 system and replacing UGC and AICT with Higher Education Commission, that is HECI, and discontinuation of the MPhil program and flexibility to an institution to offer different design in master program and reintroduction of 4-year bachelor degree program with multiple entry and exit. This is the most important point that in our previous session also sir explained about that thing that one can enter easily or exit from their bachelor degree program so that with some vocational training so that they can not to be called as a dropout and there shall be 2030 at least one
At first I want to express my gratitude to our chairpersons and I convey my thanks to organizing committee who giving me the opportunities for presenting my paper here. Now I just start my paper name is Greening the Economy, Empowering Women Entrepreneurs through Biofuel Policy Implication in India. Now I am starting my presentation highlighting the So I am starting my presentation highlighting the Panchamrit strategy of India. These are basically 5 goals that India is trying to achieve in the near future. Out of these 5 goals, first one is the production capacity of 500 gigawatts of non-fossil energy by the year 2030. Second target is fulfilling of 50% of energy needs but from the renewable sources within 2030. Third one, decreasing of 1 billion tons of carbon emission by the year 2030, and reduction of carbon intensity in the climate, that is the targeted goal is reduction of 45% in comparison to the year 2500 levels, and the ultimate goal, that is the reaching by the year 2070 the non-zero emission country in the world. So from this, my paper highlights actually explores the two equally important benefits. One is the possibility of the entrepreneur in biofuel industry, that means actually the green energy, particularly biofuel industry as an alternative of petroleum products. And second is the scope and role of women entrepreneur, particularly in this field, and especially the rural sector women entrepreneur. Now the green energy, we know there are 5 common features of green energy, 5 types: solar energy, wind energy, hydropower energy, green hydrogen, and biofuels. Out of the first 4 energy sources, we require 1,000 crores of investment, and basically these are under the purview of giant corporate undertakings. But the biofuel, that is the only one industry where MSME sector can invest, and MSME sector entrepreneurs can come forward for the purpose of producing the biofuels. Now, we know biofuel actually is a renewable energy, and its source derives from the organic components basically from agricultural sector. And there are the raw materials which are needed to be produced biofuel. We need that sugar containing raw materials. Second is starch containing materials. Third one is the damaged food grains, just like our broken rice, rotten potato, and the surplus food grains. Now, the topic under discussion on my here, we cover biofuel policy in the year 2018 and its amendment in the year 2022, MSME and its present status, state of women entrepreneurship under MSME scheme, government initiative for the women entrepreneurs, and scope of rural entrepreneur in the supply chain and production of biofuel, and challenges faced by the women entrepreneur. Now the objective of the biofuel policy, we want to achieve the 2 objectives. One is that minimizing the adverse impact of emission, basically pollutants in our carbon, in our climate changes, in our adverse impact in our health condition, adverse impact on the global warming, and in the other side, the other objective is self-dependence in our energy sector. This self-dependence, to achieve these 2 targets, there are 7 others alternative attributes are there. And now next come to the MSME sector, basically where biofuel industry can take a active growth. In our MSME sector, we know the micro, I just want to mention the micro enterprise. Micro enterprise here, the investment is not exceeding 1 crore, and the turnover rate does not exceed 5 crore rupees. There are small entrepreneurship and medium enterprises, but in our biofuel industry, there are rural entrepreneurs who can explore here. There are basically the micro enterprise, because their investment needed is less than 50 lakhs. Now the present status of MSME, at present 30% of our GDP is contributed by the MSME sector, and 45% of manufacturing output are coming from the MSME sector, and half of the export that contributed by the MSME, and where 11 crore people are employed in this sector at present. Now the government initiatives, there are so many government initiatives both in state government and central government regarding the empowering the women in this field and providing different types of subsidies. As for example, the Prime Minister Employment Generation Program, under this scheme, the women entrepreneurs under urban sector, they get 25% of subsidy. In case of rural entrepreneur, their subsidy limit is 35%, and the basic difference is here that to start a new business, our general or male members, they have to contribute 20% of their project cost, but in case of women entrepreneur, 5% of the project cost is sufficient to start a new business under micro units. Status of the present women entrepreneur: out of the total MSME sectors, only 20% is owned by the women entrepreneurs, and the maximum entrepreneur they occupy in the micro level, and almost all entrepreneurs are not from the unorganized sector. Out of this total women entrepreneurship, at present 34.3% are engaged in the agriculture sector, and 65.7% is engaged in non-agriculture sector. Now the biofuel policy, what we are going to implement here, these 34.3%, these women entrepreneurs are actually the target group who can contribute in this field of biofuel products. Now just I am mentioning a cost of the project. Cost of the project out of means if land and building is owned by the entrepreneur, in that case plant and machinery needs only 16.50 lakhs. 16.50 lakhs plant and machinery, and other miscellaneous assets is 1 lakh. Working capital needed is 7 lakhs. That is the total is 24.
Most of you must have gone through the template or must have understood what myself, Dr. Ochika Chatterjee, and my co-author friend, Professor Subhadip Das, are willing to share our thoughts on. Yes, it is all about women leadership. So before we dig into the topic deeply, I have a small brain teaser activity for you. Could you all please get a guess? Take a pick and guess the names of the famous women entrepreneurs and leaders.
Kiran Shah Mojumdar. This is Kiran Shah. This is from
The founder of which company? Kiran Shah.
Biocon Symbiosis.
Okay. Another?
Because of paucity of slides, never get
Shark Tank. Shark Tank. Shark Tank.
This silence was our area of research work. We found that women entrepreneurs or leaders are not very well acknowledged, recognized or appreciated still now. Do not be feel offended because the same game I played with my set of people where I made a little twist and I introduced few of the male dominant leaders, right? And then I found that they are more prominent. People could take their names more easily rather than their names. Whereas apparently they are all holders of 2200 net crore on an average, right? And Vinita, Sugar Cosmetics, she is an IIM Joka alumni and she holds a 300 crore property net worth, right? Alright, thank you my friend for showing all the names. Okay, moving forward, the rest of the slides will be a little alarming or awakening as you can say. So, what we find here, this led us to not only to decide on our title, whether we are living on a regressive society or a progressive society, but it helped us to frame our first objective, which was, are women leaders appreciated in the top hierarchical position? The lack of knowledge, the lack of awareness made us frame the first objective, which was how do we see female as in the top hierarchical position. Right. Next I ask a question to you. In which field of employment do you see women employment at the maximum? Any guesses? Absolutely correct. It's in the education industry. But if you go into the engineering field, the ratio is again disproportionate. If you go into the core of the engineering field, mechanical engineer, the ratio drops. So, are we clustering women into a particular environment, in a particular profession, that
segment where you could be employed, or are we using them for a particular career progression? That led us to the second framework, second objective framing, which was stereotyping women progression or stereotyping women employment. Right, and the assimilation of thoughts could be found through the graphs, which were more engaging. Let us take you back to the previous slides. Looking into the graphs, though it might not be very visible to you, but you can see some tall pillars, right? The tall pillars. In both the graphs, you can see that was 2017 to 2018, 5 years old data, but I can still assure you not a significant change has taken place. Could be 2 to 3%, that also should not be mentioned, right? The tall pillars easily says that about the service industry where women are highly employed or highly engaged. And one of my fellow speakers also said in the agricultural sector, you would find, if you go to the rural places, we found that in the agricultural sector, again, women were highly engaged or highly employed. So, teaching comes under the service industry, hence my point is proven that women are stereotyped still now, right? Yes. And starting from the basic, it is because the root cause of all this problem is the gap in education. Till now, we see, and that's a tragedy on our part, the primary education for the woman, for the girl child is still very low. Hello, we are living in the 21st century. And this is the graph which we are showing. This graph is easily available in Google and you might find it out. So, taking further with the observation, my friend will go into the further details.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, she has explained almost our main topics. I will just take you through the research methodology part. See, first is that we have tried to investigate the gender biasness and women bias. Okay. This is the typical framework which are carrying still now. Right now in 2023, where I insisted ma'am to take the lead. Second is that how women accomplish leaderships, attained, thrive leadership rose to the current subject. Okay. Now can I have the paper with you? See, we have made some points regarding the network. Okay. Like starting from 2.225 crore and ending up to say 61.3 billion. It's not a matter of issue. Okay.
Professor of ISSCR College, Kolkata, would first like to thank BB College for giving us the opportunity to present a paper in this seminar, and thank you, sir. So the topic of my presentation is the role of technical education in building resilient human capital with reference to IT sector. This paper is written by me, Pompa Sarkar, along with my fellow colleague Dr. Priyanka Jaswal. And the agenda of today's discussion is, I would like to discuss about the concept of resilient human capital, the importance of resilient human capital in context of IT sector, and the key reason why resilient human capital is crucial in the realm of technical education, purpose of my study, objective of the study, methodology I applied, discussion and interpretation, findings and
the session. Now I would like to start about NEP 2020.
New education.
Actually, the national education policy was first started in the year before the 2020, 1986, 1968 under the Prime Ministership of Indira Gandhi. Then in 1986, the Prime Ministership under the Prime Ministership Rajiv Gandhi. And now when the BJP government came into power, Mr. Sriti Irani held the chairmanship of the Education Minister. He formed a committee, and the committee submitted a report under the chairmanship of TSR Subramanian in May-June 2019. And after that, under the chairmanship of ISRO chairman K. Kasturi Rangan, finally The NEP 2020 that there is much concern about, we are concerned about, finally came in 2019. Now the main features, now the topic is the NEP 2020 and its overview of its changing structure and related recommendations. Objective of the NEP 2020 are to understand the importance of NEP 2020 in the existing education system. What is the difference or distinction between the previous education system and now the education system under NEP 2020? To know about the change in the curricular structure of the pattern, which is very important. To know about the features and objectives of NEP 2020, and most importantly, to know about the initiatives of NEP 2020 and its merits and demerits. The methodology is based on the secondary data and which is exploratory in nature. The curricular structure of the new NEP 2020 is 5+3+3+4 pattern, which was previously 10+2. And we can divide this pattern, the 5+3+3+4, into four stages. The first is foundational stage, which consisting of 5 years. Then comes the preparatory stage, 3 years. Then comes the middle stage, which consisting of 3 years. And finally the fourth stage, that is the secondary stage, class 9 to 12, grade 9 to 12.
As coming towards the features of NEP 2020, it tells about the quality, affordability, access, equity and accountability, which are considered as the foundational pillars of NEP 2020, which are very important in this field. After that, we come towards the objectives of NEP 2020 about the holistic development. Means, in this, it focuses on the children's overall development, including their physical, cognitive, emotional growth, along with equity and inclusion. Means, all the children will be included in this inclusive education process with equal distribution of weightage to every field of the subjects. Flexibility, as we know that the flexibility was very important, because in this students can choose different subjects according to their source, according to their interest and skills. Now quality education, in this NEP 2020 focuses towards the education to improve its quality from the existing academic structure. And vocational education is given much more emphasis as students will choose their own area of interest. Now the major initiatives taken under NEP 2020. The first is PMC, means it was a Prime Minister Schools for Rising India, which was a centrally sponsored scheme, and it also focused on 630 crores of allocation of money. Now PM Vidya, it was about the online platforms which was given to the students like Disha. Now Nipun Bharat.
আপনি একটু এদিকে চলে যান, আটকে যাচ্ছে।
Nipun Bharat. It was about the national initiative in proficiency of understanding the numeracy and reading, which would be very important for the students to develop their numeracy skills and reading skills. Now the national curriculum framework for foundation stage. It is for the students